Hi, and welcome to another episode of Suddenly Single. Now, today I've got with me a very special guest. I'm pretty excited. It's Dr Miriam Stoppard. She has written about sex a lot, love, life, relationships, and you're going to talk to me today, Miriam, aren't you? Particularly about sex.
If you wish.
I do wish. Sex
Okay.
over 50. It's a different ball game, isn't it? So you've got a lot of experience in this area. Not only have you written a book, I mean, you've written a lot of books that have been read by 25 million people, so you're a well-known author. But on the sex subject, not only have you written a book, but you had a column in the Mirror. You now have a column in Saga, which is read by people that are similar to me, over 50. And
similar to me.
yes.
Over
Do you mind me
80?
saying your age? 88?
No, 88.
I mean, the other thing I want to talk about is your face. 88. I mean, you look younger than me. It's amazing.
Well, that's all makeup.
Yeah, it's not just makeup. That's a pretty good face. So on the sex level, do you still get a big post bag? Because sex does change from when you're a kid, or I think it does, certainly. From when the problems, for want of a better thing, when you're 17, you don't know what you're doing. First time is embarrassing. First kiss is embarrassing. First time you have sex is embarrassing. But then when you get older, be it because it's a second relationship and you're thinking something like, have I really got to take my clothes off again after 20 years of sleeping with the same guy? Or, there are actual issues with having sex when you're older. What is the most frequently asked question to you?
Well, I think from my post bag at Saga, which is quite different from the post bag I had when I was writing for the Daily Mirror, and I used to insist then that every one of my columns included a letter on sex, because life is about sex, or sex is about life. It's part of life. It's a normal part of life. So when, we should be talking about it, we should be open and comfortable with it. We're not always, but I think that's what we should aim for. And the interesting thing is, over 60, people are much more comfortable and relaxed.
Do you think?
Well, I think also that after that age, you lose a lot of inhibitions.
That's true.
You've seen the film through several times. You've had experience, like you say. You may have had several relationships. You know how it works. And most of all, you know what your preferences are, and you know what you don't want. And I think that makes it, it's a completely different ball game from when you were younger, when you were kind of a searchlight, casting about, When you're over 60, your view is much more focused because of your experience and because of your certainty now, what you will do and what you won't do.
I think you have a certainty about what you will and won't do, but you don't have the same body confidence. I don't think you do, personally speaking.
Well, I think you're right about that. And I think the aim for someone who's over 60 and there are lumps and bumps everywhere, that one of the things that you should try to aim for is, if you haven't before, being comfortable in your body, with your body. I know that people want to hide their saggy bits, but the partner you're with probably isn't at all concerned about it. And
I think that's true.
So, you mustn't think that the problem is one of you and your partner. It's not. The problem lies with you and your insecurity about your body. And if you, I think if you think about your body as a sexual body, then you can be more at home with it and more confident in it. And think about not just the physical experience, but the feelings. The feelings don't change very much from when we're younger until we're in our 60s or 70s. Our emotions remain very much the same. And so do our sexual feelings as well.
And in your 80s?
Definitely, they're exactly the same. I mean, I'm not just quoting personal experience here. There's plenty of research. I mean, there's lots of research to show that the only thing that stops an 80-year-old or even a 90-year-old woman having sex is the availability of a partner. I mean, an awful lot of women in their 80s and 90s are still sexual beings and would like to be sexual. Not necessarily with penetrative sex, for instance. I didn't mean that. But you're sexual if you exchange caresses, if you touch. You don't have to be naked when you're doing all this. But if you begin with simply intimate kind of caresses, it can progress. And if you're with someone you feel comfortable with, you just go with it.
So you said something to me earlier about hugging. That hugging is very important. So is that something you feel you should just do?
Well, I think, in this country, we're brought up to shake hands. It's so formal. And it's arm's length. Who wants to be arm's length? If you have special girlfriends, which I have, we always hug and we kiss as well. And also, if you go into Europe, the Latin countries, both men and women hug, because hugging is much more natural to us than, shaking hands. So I do believe in hugging. We need closeness. We need touch. And both of those things contribute to mental health and also to physical health as well. So, yeah, I go around hugging everybody.
Okay, I'm going to ask you a different question now. Can you still orgasm in your 80s?
What?
Just a question, right?
I can't believe you asked me that question.
Just want to know. I might reach that age. You never know.
Well,
if I'm lucky.
When you reach your 80s, I hope you're orgasming. Of course, of course. Women never lose the ability to respond sexually, be it arousal, and never lose the ability to orgasm. And frankly, if any woman doubts that, they should just masturbate.
Okay.
Masturbate is a surefire way of getting to an orgasm. Every woman, if she masturbates, can do what she enjoys and get to the point of having an orgasm. So if you wonder if you're 85 or 95, just try masturbating. The other thing I would say is you'll have a surefire orgasm if you use a vibrator.
Oh, good idea.
So I would have said, embrace your vibrators, girls.
Tried and tested, coming to something single soon. But what about men, though? Can they?
Well, we're better off than men in this respect.
We are.
Because, just about women being able to do things sexually that they thought were gone forever. We all tend to get dry vaginas after the menopause. But you can lubricate the vagina if you take intravaginal HRT, and the vagina suddenly starts to flower and become young again. So the vagina and the clitoris can respond at any time of life, no matter how old you are, if they're stimulated in the right way.
So how old can you use internal HRT till, though? I mean, can you just keep using it?
No, I'm talking about intravaginal HRT.
Yeah.
Which is
it's
not
different.
Oh, absolutely different.
Okay, so because I don't understand that.
Right. Intravaginal, every woman should know about intravaginal HRT. That is a cream or a small pellet, but with an applicator you put into your vagina as high as possible. What this does is the estrogen rejuvenates the vaginal lining. It starts to lubricate itself. It starts to thicken, become juicy, become healthy, become younger. But not only that, the estrogen in the vagina finds its way through to the bladder. And the bladder also is rejuvenated and becomes younger. And that's why intravaginal HRT is good for urinary tract infections, which are very common in older women.
Yes, they are. Do you get it from your doctor? Would you need to go and ask for that? It's not an over-the-counter thing, is it?
It is.
It?
You can get little pessaries.
And just go into the chemist and
You
ask
can
for
just
them.
say, I would like some intravaginal
Note
estrogen,
that, ladies.
please.
Note that. Oh. I think I know a friend who uses it. She's just raised her hand. But we're not going to call her out.
So, I mean, and frankly, because I was subject to urinary tract infections,
Yes.
I would no sooner get rid of one than another one would arise. And I went to see somebody, and they made 2 suggestions, which I would like to pass on. The first is, instead of using the usual antibiotics that we use, and if they're used too often, the bugs become resistant, there's a new one called fosfomycin, which is a one-off. Mm-hmm. You only take 1 dose at night, and the infection's gone because it's very broad spectrum, and it hits all the bacteria that might be causing the infection. But the second thing I was told, I had an ultrasound, and the doctor said, just look at the lining of your bladder. It's as thin as paper. You're bound to get more infections that way. And I said, can I see the lining of my vagina, please? So we looked at the lining of my vagina, which was also paper thin. So she said, you will go on having infections until you've rejuvenated, made more healthy, made younger, and therefore resistant to infection, until you've done that to your vagina and your bladder. And since I started using intravaginal estrogen, I haven't had a single bladder infection.
And do you need to use it daily?
No, I don't use it daily. I mean, I just make a judgment, because you can see and feel the effect of having a pessary. And for me, the effect, it seems to me, to last about 3 days. So I do it every 3 days, twice a week.
Okay. Now, the other thing about you is I cannot believe you're 88. You look younger than me. So I'm going to ask you, have you had a facelift? What work have you had done? Because you cut that. This is not a face of 88.
You're right. And you're right to ask the question as well. And I'm happy to answer it.
Thank you.
I did have a facelift, the whole lot, including the neck.
Yeah. Because the neck is often a giveaway, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Including the neck, when I was 54. Now, the plastic surgeon that I had, I don't think he's still practicing now. But anyway, he'd been to America, learned the newest techniques. And what he said to me was, there's 3 things that will happen after this. The facelift that you had won't kind of actually settle for a year. So it will go on getting better and looking more like you for a year. He said, but also the techniques I've used, it will go on getting better for 10 years. Mm-hmm. So he said, for the rest of your life, you're kind of 10 years ahead, 10 years behind, because the kind of facelift he did, the effects persisted long after the. So.
And you've learned to do your makeup too, haven't you? I mean, you told me a tip earlier, always put your foundation on with a brush, which I've never done, but I'm now going to buy some.
Well, I learned how to put makeup on when I was doing telly.
Okay.
Because I had the different girls used to give me tips all the time. And so I kind of do what they taught me, and you're quite right. I use brushes for everything, because I just think you can control the amount you're putting on with the brush. You can get it into every nook and cranny with the brush.
Yeah.
So it's not just the foundation, it's and the eyes and blusher and everything I put on with the brush. And also I have this thing about setting the makeup. So once I put on the foundation, I set it the way, if you in the old days you'd have a hair done, you'd have it set.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I set my makeup with, again, I use powder with a brush,
Mm-hmm.
so you don't get excessive powder. And as it's set, it lasts a long time. So, when I hear about 24-hour makeup, I kind of shrug my shoulders because I leave my makeup on much longer than that.
Do you?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, so you sleep in your makeup?
Yeah.
I've done that a few times. People always tell you not to, but I quite like it because if you've done it well, it looks good the next day.
I'm a dermatologist, so
Right.
I was trained as a dermatologist, so I know a bit about the skin. And this thing about cleansing and toning and moisturizing, suit yourself. But in my book, the skin doesn't need all that, and it doesn't need it as often as cosmeticians would have you believe. And also, one of the things that I believe is that the best moisturizer you can use is makeup, because makeup stops you losing moisture from your skin. Most moisturizers will put moisture into the skin, but that only lasts maximum 8 hours. There are heavier moisturizers with lots of chemicals in them, hyaluronic acid, which is enjoying a great vogue, that will moisturize the skin and keep it there for a while, for a few hours. But makeup works all the time, keeping your skin well moisturized while you're wearing it. So I'm
just going to keep mine on then. So can I ask you another question? You were first married to the playwright Tom Stoppard, and you're still really good friends. But when you initially divorced, you were in your early 50s. Was that one of the reasons that you had a facelift? Was it a confidence thing?
Oh,
think?
no. No, I'd had the facelift done long before we parted.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That didn't have anything to do
So
with it.
he parted with a good-looking woman.
Silly man. They do that. It's happened to me. And then you got married again, and you have 2 children. Unfortunately, your last husband died. Christopher died about 3 years ago. And he was also suffering, I hope you don't mind me saying, with dementia at the time.
Yes.
Which is something that my mother has it. It's in the family. Was that very difficult for you to live with somebody with dementia? Very difficult to deal with?
Well, I don't know about it being difficult, because in that situation, most women, I can't talk about men, but most women would just do what they think they ought to do. And what you think you ought to do is to help the person, be very gentle with them, do the things that they like doing, and also do things that you might maintain their memory, like music, or looking at photographs to remind them of what things that they've done in their lives and how enjoyable they were. So you just get on and do it. And it was only just before he died that I realized I couldn't keep going, because it was absorbing so much of my life.
Yeah.
And I was tired.
How many years did he suffer from it?
Well, from the early, it was probably 2.5 to 3 years.
Okay. And it got progressively worse quite quickly then?
Yeah.
Which is very draining for you.
Yes. It never occurred to me to get any help. It just didn't occur to me, because
Why?
I thought...
You're a doctor and you thought you could deal with it?
I suppose so. And I felt that, I was a wife as well, and I felt it was my responsibility to be his carer.
But also, on top of that, 4 children, 2
2 of my own and 2 stepchildren,
yes,
of Tom's.
and 12 grandchildren.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like you didn't have anything else to do, as well as working.
And
which
I
you
was
still
working as
do.
well because I was writing.
Yeah. Do you think working helps you stay young?
Oh, there's no question that it does. I mean, there's a lovely experiment done in Japanese men, 80-year-old Japanese men, and half of them went into work just for a couple of hours a week, and half of them didn't. The half that did had better heart health. They were, all their kind of health measurements were good. They had lower blood pressure. They didn't gain as much weight. The rate of cancer was lower. So, I mean, that experiment really convinced me that working is it's a gift to keep you young, but also, for me anyway, and I'm sure there are lots of people like me, I work. That's what I do, and I've got to work. It's like an essential vitamin, and I need to take it every day. So I need to work every day. I think it could be one of the things that keeps my brain ticking over.
I think you're completely right. I agree with you on that. Now, I know it's only been a few years, and I know you've said you're in your 80s, but do you think, would you like to find love again? Would you ever consider?
Well, Siobhan, I think when you reach a grand old age like me, your ways have been set by various things that have happened in your life, even from when you were a child. Now, when I was a child, I was so happy to go up to my bedroom with my coloured pencils and just do drawings and stick them on the wall. I didn't require company. I didn't need to play with anybody. I just liked to do that. And that kind of way of making myself happy, because that's what it was, has kind of lasted throughout my life. So I'm really, I won't say that I'm never lonely, but loneliness never bothers me. I don't feel the desire to socialize, put myself about, look for new friendships. I would never go online to try and find a friend. That isn't the way I would find friends anyway. But I'm not driven to do those kinds of things. And an awful lot of women will confess when they do live alone and they're single again, they like it. They enjoy it. They like being mistress of their own destiny. They like making decisions when and how they want to. They like giving themselves their own timetable. They like being adventurous if they want to be and go on foreign holidays. They like having, things that bring them a lot of pleasure, like it may be reading, it could be the theatre, it could be the cinema, it could be the opera. They like doing all those things. And all those things contribute to their general well-being.
Do you travel solo?
I used to until just last year, and I had a very unfortunate accident while I was traveling, and my sons have said no more traveling alone, which I find very sad.
Unfortunate accident, what happened?
Pardon?
When you say an unfortunate accident, what happened?
Well, I had been to France. I had driven from home into the airport at Toulouse, which is an hour's run on the motorway. I got into security and suddenly I couldn't move. The room was spinning and I was vomiting. And I was taken to A&E and I was then taken to a hospital, lots of tests, blah, blah, blah. But the upshot is I had been on the motorway 20 minutes earlier. And had that happened to me while I was driving, I might have killed somebody.
Okay.
I might have wrecked my car and killed myself, but also I was a danger to other road users. And my sons rightly told me no more driving.
Okay.
That was a shock because I value my independence and freedom of movement, and I want to go wherever I want to.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't enjoy it, but of course they're right.
See, it's funny that you say you don't enjoy it, and we're going to bring her in a minute. I've got a friend called Rachel Gold, who's a mindfulness expert and a stylist. She said to me recently, I was talking about liking being in a relationship, and she said, that's because being not in a relationship is an uncomfortable place for you. It's not a place that you're used to being. And actually, it's better to learn to be in an uncomfortable place than it is to be with the wrong person. And I think that's what you've
really
summed
agree
up.
with. I really
Yeah.
agree with her there.
Yeah.
You see, with just reference to what she said to you, unfortunately, it doesn't apply to me because I've been comfortable being on my own for so long
Yeah.
that I look forward to being alone, quite frankly. And all my life, I've been happiest in my head. I go into my head, and
When
that's
you
my
say
happy
you're in your
place.
head, what do you fantasize, or what goes on in your head? Why
I
are you
just
so
think-
happy in your head?
I
What are you
just think, I
thinking
mean, for
about?
instance, well, I'm quite reflective. If I read the paper, all the time while I'm reading, my mind is going into the background of it and the questions that come out of what I've been reading. Similarly with a book. I mean, I think reading a book is one of the best exercises for your brain, but also for your well-being, because you have to go into another world, and that world might be very different from yours, and it teaches you a great deal, and it teaches you how to cope with situations that are unfamiliar and maybe frightening. It teaches you to be resilient, strong, and come through adversity. So, and that's just from reading a book. Because it engages the brain at so many levels.
Right, so I've got Rachel back with me, our lovely mindfulness fashion queen over here. We will move subjects, but I'm going to go sideways because you and Miriam share something in common. You are both Jewish. Correct. And that, marrying out Miriam, can be quite problematic, can't it?
Oh, it's the greatest sin that a Jewish child could commit. Coming from an Orthodox Jewish home, which was very strict, and we abided by all the rules, so that when I did marry out, my father, there's a traditional way of reacting when a child marries out. So they tear their clothes, so that they're always wearing something which is
it's like they do
in
at a
their
funeral.
anguish. In their anguish, they tear their clothes. My father locked my bedroom. He took away all my photographs out of the house so that my presence wasn't known, and he didn't speak to me for 3 years. I resented it at the time. I was 24, 25. I really resented it because I couldn't get into the mind of someone who could do that to their child. I knew that I could never send my child away in the way that my dad did. And it was only, 4 or 5 years ago that I forgave him, because in his position, he was an Orthodox Jewish man and very active in the community. He couldn't have acted any other way.
I'm going to get my suddenly single honesty box out. Now, we don't leave you hanging. Pick a question and we're all going to answer it, or we'll start with you. It may be a topic we've already touched on, because I can't actually remember what they are now. You might have to put it back.
Do you ever dream about your ex?
Oh, we haven't done that one, do you?
No?
Never.
Not never. I had a dream a few weeks ago about him, but he's not my ex. He's my husband. he's now not with me. He died. But I don't kind of have fantasies, that kind of thing.
But do you feel his presence?
I don't know what you mean by presence, but of
Well, some
course, when
people-
one moves around the
Yes.
house and I see, there are all sorts of cues
Okay.
to think about him. Yes, I
Yeah.
do that all the time.
Yeah.
And of
But
course,
no fantasies about him.
no,
Oh, okay.
No.
Right then.
I'm not a fantasist, I don't think.
Okay.
No, I'm not either.
Oh, so no sexy dreams about
we live
exes
in
for
the
you
moment,
either.
isn't it?
Yes, you see,
I think it's to do with living in the moment.
Rachel was explaining to me earlier about mindfulness.
Yes.
And the way she explained it, I realized that I've lived most of my life being mindful. I don't have to kind of practice it and think about it.
Yes. Yeah.
So, I react, as Rachel has just said, I react to the moment, wherever I am.
Yeah.
And that leads to a kind of spontaneity,
Yeah.
which it's just wonderful to spontaneously respond to something,
Yes.
because it's coming from
Yes. From
deep
your heart.
inside you,
Yeah,
and
from your
something
heart.
that, yes,
It's a good thing. It's a
From the
wonderful
heart.
thing.
Okay. Oh, I've got a good one for Miriam. Shall I go next? What do you do if your partner can't perform?
Oh,
What do I say? Well, you're the doctor.
Well, I'm not someone who would focus a great deal on this inadequacy, because your partner, if he can't perform, is feeling so inadequate. He's feeling he's let you down.
Oh.
You're not the man you married. He's feeling second rate. He may be even feeling fifth rate. So I would never kind of draw attention to it. If I was going to do anything about it, I would come at it sideways or from another place. I think the main thing is to be kind. I think you've got to be kind and not make demands. I think, of course, it's better if you talk
I
about
better
it.
stop with the demands then.
It's always
Very
better if you talk
demanding.
about anything. So I think, and your partner with erectile dysfunction can't keep an erection. His masculinity is challenged. It's difficult for a man to talk about those things. So I think you have to stage manage your conversation to make it easier for him. And I would suggest that you do something that you both like, and maybe a long walk. It could be going to the cinema. It could be having a very nice dinner together. And with a couple of glasses of wine, you just start to kind of talk about the way we were and what we used to do,
yes.
and what did we
Yes,
enjoy
romantic.
together.
Yeah.
And then in that way you can get into the subject of not being able to get or maintain an erection. By the way, it's very common, so no man should feel that he's unique. And then if you're talking about it, you say, what would you like to do? What would you like us to do? What would you like me to do? I think the woman in this situation has to be proactive.
Yes.
But proactive in a very positive way, in a helpful way, in a
Yes.
kind way, and an understanding way, so that he doesn't feel that his self-confidence is shot to hell, and that he's got someone who really understands him.
Yeah.
Right. What's your final question?
What was your first dating disaster?
What's the worst date you've ever been on? Doesn't have to be your first one.
I don't know. I don't think I've been on any awful
Oh, Rachel,
dates.
God, why are you so perfect?
Honestly, I haven't.
You've never been on a bad date? Come on, we've all had a
haven't, and I've been
terrible
on
date.
lots of dates. I just
I've
don't
been on
think-
dates where I think can't be doing with this.
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean,
or-
I've paid the bill within 5 minutes. I mean, it's bizarre. People can be really bizarre. So,
Yes.
Well, that's why I think online dating is quite dangerous, because you get a very superficial picture of who you're
You do, but
speaking
can
to.
I tell you, Miriam, I'm seeing the most gorgeous man that I met online now. Can't believe my luck. So it can work. It can work.
That's
Well,
good.
I'm very pleased to hear that.
Yes,
Thank you.
I'm
But
pleased to
it
hear that
wouldn't.
too.
It wouldn't appeal to me because I want to see their eyes. I want to see their facial expressions from minute to minute. I would like to watch their body language. So, just seeing this
Body
much.
language is an interesting one, isn't it? You
Yes.
can't tell if it's
Very.
shyness or then not really that into
Oh, you
you.
can.
You reckon
I
you
think
can?
Oh, I'm
you
sure
can.
you
Yes,
can.
definitely.
Do
I
you
think you
think so?
can. Yes, just watch
maybe
their
I'm just
feet. See
bad
if their
at-
feet are going towards the door.
Is that a sign?
Oh, there is.
That's going to be my new thing now.
That
Yeah.
is a sign, isn't it?
But also, you kind of have an
facing.
instinct for these things.
Yes, yes.
You.
I think I'm quite self-centric. I'm only ever thinking what I'm thinking about it all. But I will be checking out what direction their feet are heading from now on.
Yeah, that's a good trick.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Miriam Stoppard, for coming in to Suddenly Single. You've been a joy, and I genuinely would love to have you back in.
Well,
'Cause-
it's been such fun, Siobhan.
Oh,
really.
thank you.
Thank you very much for making it so entertaining, and I'd love to come back.
That would be brilliant. And thank you as ever, Rach.
You're welcome.